There's something eerie about kid shows, especially the ones that are old and have puppets, and I'm not talking about puppets that look like the Muppets, but the ones that look a lot like people. There's something very unsettling about those puppets. Whether it's the way they move or just their facial features, their human-like qualities come off as being slightly creepy and somewhat sinister. I've always believed that the shows I watched as a kid were the creepiest, but after watching the ones here on this list, I realized I was wrong. It turns out that there were other far more creepier shows for kids, specifically puppet shows. That said, here are 5 very unsettling puppet shows that may have left some kids feeling a bit disturbed. Les Minikims. Les Minikims was a puppet show that aired in France in 1993. The show was centered on a group of kids who were employees of a fictional TV station. They would make skits based on popular movies and songs. There was a storyline to Les Minikims, but the show mainly consisted of parodies about famous movies, TV series, game shows, and music videos. By 2002, the show was cancelled due to financial problems. However, the show is still talked about in many nostalgic French communities. Doubtless, the footage that remains of Les Minikims shows puppets that were quite unsettling and probably disturbing for the kids that watched it. Now, I can see how someone would compare the show to Lazy Town. However, unlike Lazy Town, there isn't a single human character in this show. The fact that there isn't an actual person makes the show seem like it's in its own world, distant from reality, which may have caused viewers to feel uncomfortable, especially if they watch this alone. Sarah and Hoppity. This is another show that lacks actual people, and it's just as creepy as the previous one. The plot of this show is centered on Sarah, who would do mischievous things because her toy Hoppity would tell her to do such things. Although the plot is simple, like most kid shows, there seems to be something dark about this one, and it's not explicitly mentioned, but rather implied. This can be seen in the pilot episode. The beginning of this episode starts off with Sarah working in her parents' toy shop where they fix broken toys. On this day, a mysterious man walks in holding a doll called Hoppity and claiming that he found it in a place called the Goblin Ring. He does not want to fix this toy, but sell it. Upon hearing his offer, Sarah begs her parents for the toy. She eventually gets Hoppity and dresses him up. Later, Hoppity comes to life and would tell Sarah to do things that would later get her in trouble, like cutting the flowers from her aunt's favorite hat. Now, what's creepy about this show is Hoppity's mysterious background. Keep in mind that the man who came into the shop wanted to sell Hoppity, almost seeming like he wanted to get rid of it. Plus, he states that he found Hoppity in a place called the Goblin Ring, which seems to be a place where witchcraft is done. Of course, I'm pretty sure it wasn't the creator's intention to give Hoppity a dark background. However, it still makes this doll seem sinister. Nonetheless, the other characters of the show look pretty creepy, especially Sarah. Tots TV. Now, before I talk about this show, I want to say that personally, I don't find any of these ragdolls creepy. However, their eyes are a bit too large, which makes them somewhat creepy, but for the most part, they don't appear to be that scary. What I do find unsettling though is the story of this show. According to the plot, the show is set in a cottage hidden deep within the woods. Like I said before, puppet shows that tend to be creepy are those without any people, or those that are distant from reality. Those types of shows tend to make people feel like they're watching something they shouldn't be watching, causing viewers to feel uncomfortable, and watching this show definitely gave me that feeling. Of course, it might just be me. Going back to the plot, the main characters who live in this cottage are Tilly, Tom, and Tiny, and all 3 are friends who explore whatever lies beyond their cottage. It's a simple plot, which is appropriate for a kid show, yet there's still something unsettling about this show. But what's even more unsettling is the actual cottage from this show that was found abandoned in a hidden area. Here, take a look.
Yeah. Try it other side. Front door's locked.
They're all terrible.
Look in there.
I want to get in it, but
You don't want to get in that hole.
yeah, I know, but look at
Use those 2 polystyrene bits as like water feet.
like water roller skates.
Yeah.
But
All Sorts. All Sorts aired from 1991 to 1994 in the UK, and during the time that it aired, the show changed its name from All Sorts to Giggleish All Sorts. Along with changing the show's name, the show also replaced and introduced new characters, one of them being an anthropomorphic box. Box, the name of this talking thing, was introduced in the 5th season of the show, and as you can see, this new character probably scared some kids. The eyes and mouth of this box, including its color, resembled the features of a human face. On top of that, Box would move its eyes from side to side, often really fast, which added more to the creepiness of this character and to the uncanny feeling felt by the viewer. As for the show, All Sorts or Giggleish All Sorts was made for educating preschoolers by having characters sing and solve problems. Although its target audience were preschoolers, adding that talking box probably prevented some kids from enjoying the show due to the box's eerie appearance. Rimini Riddle. If there's anything I'm sure of that gave kids nightmares, it's this show. Rimini Riddle aired between the early and mid-90s on Ireland's broadcasting service RTE. Now during the time I was researching this, I couldn't find any information on the show's plot. It seems as though no one has heard of this show. Luckily, I came across an article giving some information that may have been the plot of the show, but even the article itself isn't sure if this was the actual plot. The article was based on vague recollections of those who watched this show when they were kids, and to no surprise, most of these people recall having nightmares of this show. According to the article, Rimini Riddle was based on 3 children who were sent to live with their Aunt Vera. Of those 3 children, one of them was called Leo, and he would carry an evil toy called Otto, who would come alive when no one was around. The other 2 children were Rory and a female character whose name is unknown. Besides these characters, there were elements in the show that added to the creepiness of Rimini Riddle, like the portrait in Aunt Vera's living room. In this portrait, there were 2 girls beside an ocean. Later in the show, it was revealed that those 2 girls died from drowning. And if that's not creepy enough, there was also a creepy character called Jeffrey who would try to marry Aunt Vera in the hope of stealing her money. As you can see, Rimini Riddle didn't seem like a show for kids, but it was. And it's for that reason that some adults today are trying to forget this disturbing show they watched as kids.
It's the middle of the night.
I know it is. You were having a nightmare.
You can say that again.
Thanks for watching. If I missed a show you felt belonged on this list, let me know in the comments below. That said, I'm Bizarre Bub, and I'll see you in the next Bizarre Countdown.